Man, the Oklahoma Sooners are just killing it on the recruiting trail, but I see what a lot of you guys are having conversations about in terms of big time targets for the Oklahoma Sooners and exactly what we should be expecting. And guys, I'm here to kind of give you my take, my thoughts, my input here, along with kind of what I've heard on the recruiting trail, because Oklahoma is doing something different, but also it seems like it's the same old for some recruits. But guys, before we dive into it, before we talk about it, go ahead and hit that like and hit the subscribe button. Jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are about. Let me know what kind of Sooners intel you guys would like to hear more about, and we'll try to dig up some more information there. But I think the most appropriate way to start this is to talk about the five-star defensive lineman Williams Nwaneri, who, if you guys have not been following this recruitment, it's kind of gotten wild at this point, and really, it seems like your biggest competitor here is Missouri. Now, I get it. You'll listen to Chad Simmons, you'll listen to Steve Wiltfong, and you're going to hear Georgia's name being thrown around. But although it doesn't seem like Georgia is a real competitor, so you look at the primary two teams, Oklahoma and Missouri, and you ask yourself, well, why is Oklahoma in another recruiting battle for a five-star player and potentially might lose him? Because if you guys remember, Oklahoma lost Luther Burden to Missouri. And that one kind of got strung along for OU. Now, that was with the previous regime. And let's be honest, they've got their own problems right now out at USC, which there's a video coming on that later. But you look at what's going on with Williams Nwaneri, and you look at what the Oklahoma Sooners could be potentially getting in this kid. And it is I think, a transformational talent for your team and for this defensive line, and something that Oklahoma really just has not gotten in a long time. And so you look at the industry and you say, well, where is he being favored? Where is the crystal balls, the future cast, the on-3 predictions? Where is all that coming in? And right now, the only crystal ball that I see on 247 Sports is a former 247 expert, Brandon Drum, that had put one in favor of Oklahoma. Now, truth be told, that crystal ball I don't think can be changed by him, because he's not with 247 Sports anymore. So we could probably say no crystal balls have been submitted for Williams Nwaneri on 247 Sports. But you go over to Rivals, right? And I say Rivals, and the reason why we're transferring here next is because it seems like the recruiters and the intel, well, not the recruiters, but the insiders over at Rivals, whoever they are, they might have the best intel because they're the ones that are making the forecasts and the predictions of where Williams Nwaneri is going to end up. And right now, you still see Oklahoma's favorite here. I mean, you see Parker Thune and Brandon Drum and Shea Pickering and Alec Boose put in future cast in favor of Oklahoma. But then you see a guy like Gabe DeArmond and Mason Voth putting in predictions for Missouri. One of those by Mason was a flip to Missouri. And then you see Clint Cosgrove submitting his future cast for Missouri. And you're like, well, where's this drum up for Missouri coming? And you look at Gabe DeArmond, and he is an insider for Missouri. And you look at Clint Cosgrove. Well, Clint Cosgrove is just the national recruiting analyst. He has no tie to the Missouri Tigers or the Oklahoma Sooners. So you say, okay, well, his might have probably the most validity to it because he has no side. You look at Mason Voth, okay, no side to Missouri or Oklahoma. But again, where's the intel coming from? And I think it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what's going on in the head of Williams Nwaneri. There's probably only 2 or 3, maybe 3 people in the industry right now that I think have a good foothold on this recruitment, and all 2 to 3 are going to tell you something different. And so I think it's pretty safe to say when you look at the recruitment of Williams Nwaneri, this is a coin flip for Oklahoma. There is no guarantee that Williams Nwaneri will be an Oklahoma Sooner on his commitment date of August 14th. However, by National Signing Day, you could see something totally different. What I mean by that is if he commits to Missouri, Missouri still has to fight the uphill battle with Williams Nwaneri of we might fire our head coach and that staff. So the guys that you got familiar with, and they might not be here. And although the NIL numbers that are being thrown out might seem lucrative for Missouri, that's probably not sustainable if their program is not going to be winning football games. And so if you're an Oklahoma fan, although you might not get his commitment on August 14th, you still feel good that you might be able to earn his commitment by National Signing Day or early National Signing Day. You've got teammates like Kamori Moore in his back pocket committed to Oklahoma. You got a guy like Isaiah Mosey, who it seems like is trending towards Oklahoma. And then you've got Caden Green here, right? Caden Green, an offensive lineman that has been here for over the summer, can try to sell Williams Nwaneri on the idea of being a Sooner. I think Oklahoma's still fine, even if they lose Williams. I think they have probably the best pitch in terms of how they're going to use him, his development. But only time is going to tell them what's going on with Williams Nwaneri and what's going on in his head. Will he be a Sooner or will he be a Missouri Tiger? And then you look at some of the other recruitments in the 2024 cycle that Oklahoma is going after that ultimately we're just waiting on commitments from. And you look at the other 5-star defensive lineman in David Stone. David Stone, an in-town prospect that's playing at IMG Academy, but's from Oklahoma City. Would it shock you to see David Stone end up at Miami? We've heard all the rumors about how his mom doesn't want him at Oklahoma. We've heard those rumors. Whether they're true or not, they're out there. And if Miami wants to feed off those rumors and say, hey, move to Miami, get on the beach, your parents can move out here, it's a blast. It's a compelling pitch because Miami's going to be able to give you some NIL funds too. And for a guy like David Stone, probably not worried about the NIL because, well, wherever he goes, he's going to get paid. He's a 5-star defensive lineman. He's going to get paid. That's just how it works. So for him, you have to look at it and go, it's probably an Oklahoma-Miami battle. Maybe the Gators scare you. Maybe Texas A&M scares you because of David Hicks. Although I think Texas A&M is, you're here and Texas A&M's here. Miami's here. The Gators are probably here. And so you look at this recruitment for David Stone. It's been quiet. Maybe all too quiet. But that's okay. No news is good news. And if you're an Oklahoma fan, you still feel really good about the recruitment of David Stone because, well, it's probably the most important recruitment for you in the 2024 cycle. But with the relationships of Oklahoma, and let's be honest, he's probably been here 25, 30 times and maybe even more than that because, well, he's probably gone to OU games when he was younger. The love for Oklahoma might be too much to bear for any other team to overcome. And ultimately, we don't know what's going on inside David Stone's head, just like Williams Nwaneri. But what I can tell you is he's ultimately going to make the decision that's best for him. And it's one that Oklahoma Sooner fans are going to watch. And I feel like wherever the kid ends up, even if it's not Oklahoma, there will still be love for the kid at some level. Oklahoma's pulled out all the stops. They've even pulled in Gerald freaking McCoy, baby. So the question is, if you land both of those 5-star defensive linemen, what are the odds that you can go out there and still land a guy like 5-star defensive lineman Dominic McKinley? Because Dominic McKinley was one that you probably at the beginning of the year, and I'll be honest, did not have on my bingo card. Now, I've tried to get Dominic on the podcast before, and listen, I'm going to be honest, I've been shot down. Probably doesn't like to do interviews. That's from what I'm getting. And I'm going to say this. Although there is a crystal ball prediction for Dominic McKinley by Hank South to end up with the Texas Longhorns, my confidence level on that crystal ball is not very high. And here's the reason why. Dominic McKinley doesn't talk very much. Not a lot of people are going to know about this recruitment and where it's really trending because it's kind of hard to get something out of the kid. And if the kid wants to keep his recruitment tight and locked down, all power to him. Nobody's complaining about that. But 5-star defensive lineman Dominic McKinley, he's going to create an Oklahoma or Texas battle for his recruitment. If you're Oklahoma, you don't want to lose to Texas anymore. You're tired of losing to Texas on the recruiting trail. You lost DJ Campbell in 2022, Anthony Hill last year, Colton Vasek. You're ready to get a win. And the win on a 5-star defensive lineman, adding him to this class where you can still have Nigel Smith, Danny Okoye. You love where the Oklahoma Sooners are trending in this recruitment. If it's a coin flip battle for a Louisiana kid between Oklahoma and Texas, you take that as a win all day, every day, even if you don't win the recruitment, because you got the kid to not go to LSU. You got the kid to stay out of LSU's backyard. Can you really complain? Looking at some of the other defensive linemen, and we talked about this in a previous video, but Danny Okoye, guys, I'm starting to come around to Danny Okoye being a Sooner. If you guys have watched, I haven't been super high on it, but I've talked to Danny Okoye. We've had some conversations. I'm coming around to the idea that the Oklahoma Sooners might be in play here. And when I look at the top three of what I think Danny Okoye is thinking, Alabama, Tennessee, Oklahoma. Those are the top three. Texas at 4. But I think there's some distance between those three programs and Texas. If you're Danny Okoye and you're looking at Oklahoma and Alabama, you're looking at two guys at both programs that can develop you at a high level and have history at developing you at a high level. One is an in-state team that, listen, you come to Oklahoma with David Stone and you ball out and you shine, not only are the NIL deals going to flow in, but you're going to be a superstar and hero around here. So like I said, haven't been high on Danny Okoye, but I'm starting to come around to it. Then you ask, well, what about Zina Yumio-Azulu? Still liking Oklahoma there, but to beat Texas in this battle while his brother is an offensive lineman at Texas? Hey, let's just wait. Let's just simmer down. Especially if you land Danny Okoye, you don't have to land Zina. But you get Nigel Smith. You've got Bergen Kaisar, who we just did an interview with, and he will be on the podcast, so it is coming out. Bergen Kaisar, who, but listen, is going to be a producer on this defensive line here in the next 2 years. Mark my words on that. You look at what Todd Bates has done, you go, okay, I'm a believer. I'm done with the Todd Bates slander. Everybody else, stop. Todd Bates is a recruiter. Todd Bates is that guy. And then you look at the offensive line, because you just got Josh Isosa, and you're primarily looking at two prospects, Daniel Akinkumi, and you're looking at Grant Bricks. And although we might not know an answer for Grant Bricks for a while, because, listen, just like Dominic McKinley and Williams Nwaneri, dude's kind of quiet, dude don't talk much. I think we've had 1 or 2 interactions with him before. That's it. They've been a while. It's been a while. But you look at Daniel Akinkumi, a guy that really just has started playing football, could be a diamond in the rough, a guy that ultimately you get him on campus, dude, you could have something there. Might need to be developed, but because there's not a lot to go off of, you really might have something there over the next couple of years. Daniel Akinkumi could be a great offensive line for you, being under Bill Beanbo and being developed. If your offensive line consists of Eugene Brooks, Josh Isosa, Isaiah Autry, Grant Bricks, and Daniel Akinkumi, going into 2025 where you can land 4- and 5-star guys like Michael Fasusi, you've got Ty Haywood, you've got Lamont Rogers, you got the 2 guys out there at Bishop Gorman. You got guys in Missouri and Kansas, 4-star guys. Oklahoma's going to be fine. Offensive line is not something y'all need to be worried about. Bill Beanbo can recruit. 2024 wasn't the year, because you got to remember the offensive line depth is there. It's hard to recruit when you have a lot of offensive line depth, and the guys know that they might have to sit 2 years before they can actually play. So now I look at 2025, because we have some 2025 recruits coming up, like Jaden Nickens on August 12th. And Jaden Nickens is interesting because, well, if you land Jaden Nickens, in-state prospect, gives you your 3rd wide receiver prospect. Yeah. It's there. It's there. You really could be locking down the wide receiver talent for 2025 before we even start the 2023 football season. Think about that for a second. Emmett Jones is that dude. I'm excited where Oklahoma's going. You guys should be excited where Oklahoma's going on the recruiting trail. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe button, and jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are. It's going to be an awesome month for Oklahoma on the recruiting trail. You're going to lose some recruits. You're going to get some recruits. But ultimately, Oklahoma fans going into the football season should be excited about the direction of this football program, especially with what you're hearing out of fall camp. And there's dudes balling out, and there's dudes that are not. So, guys, again, want to hear from you. Jump down in the comments below. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and hit the subscribe button.